Before we start the Blitz, we want to recognize the deadly attack in New Orleans New Year's Day. We understand the Saints are coming to town with heavy hearts. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families affected by this heinous act. When the beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Blitz, and this is a special one. Not only is it the season finale, but this is the 800th game ever played by the franchise. I'm Evan Klosky, rejoined by David Shealy. David, hopefully you had a nice week off with some family. We're glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be seeing the Tampa Bay team in a very simple scenario of win and in. They're back in the win column. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way. We're going to be talking a lot about this playoff spot on the line inside Ray J, an offense chasing history, the return of Shaq Barrett, and did Captain Fear just get shoved into retirement?
He might have. So let's get started. This is the 10 and 10, the 10 most important storylines you need to know before the 1 p.m. kickoff between the Buccaneers and Saints in Tampa. The last time we saw these two teams meet was Week 6, where we saw a total of 6 turnovers in a wild 51-27 affair for the Buccaneers with a victory. Tampa Bay tallied nearly 600 yards of offense. The Saints laid the all-time series between these two with a 40-25 record. Could be the second time in 3 years, though, the Bucs sweep their rival. Tampa Bay is also hoping to claim their 4th straight NFC South title, which would tie the record set by the Saints in this division. New Orleans did it from 2017 to 2020. Before this streak began, the Bucs just had 6 all-time divisional titles to their name. So this is remarkable stuff, David.
Absolutely. It's also not an easy thing to make the playoffs 5 years in a row. That's also on the line. If the Bucs are able to do that by beating the Saints, they would have the longest active playoff streak in the NFC. Only the Chiefs and Bills would have longer streaks in the entire league. At number 9, it is a simple scenario. Win and in. If the Bucs lose somehow, they can still get in with the Falcons' loss to the Panthers, but I don't think anyone wants it coming down to that. Last year, Tampa Bay was in a simple scenario. They needed to win against a 2-win Panthers team. The Bucs looked flat, did not score a touchdown, but still won by a score of 9-0. Baker Mayfield is hoping there is something to be learned from that experience.
Still playing aggressive, still playing to win, to go win the game, not just to get by. So having that same mentality we've carried through of trying to score a lot of points early and often to let the defense get after them a little bit. And so that's our mentality on offense, to score as many as we possibly can and don't look back.
At number 8, the Pro Bowl selections are out, and the Bucs have 2 with Tristan Wirfs and Vita Vea. This is the 2nd all-time selection for Vea and 4th for Wirfs. At 25 years old, Wirfs already has the most Pro Bowl selections of any offensive lineman in franchise history. Meanwhile, Chase McLaughlin, Levante David, Mike Evans, and Baker Mayfield were all selected as alternates.
Yeah, alternates. Really? Baker Mayfield has a case to be the biggest snub in the league this season, and now he could still get in, by the way. He is an alternate, as we mentioned, but the guy ranks 2nd in touchdowns, 2nd in completion percentage, and 3rd in yards. I mean, come on, y'all.
That sounds good to me.
And at number 7, guess what? He's also won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week twice in the last 3 weeks. He was masterful against the Panthers, tying a career high with 5 touchdown passes. He also had a near perfect QB rating in the contest. Also, and maybe this is the most important thing for Baker, he snapped his 4-game streak throwing an interception. But this game is an important one for the wallet. Between his passer rating, completion percentage, and yards per attempt, factor in his passing yards and touchdowns as well. Mayfield could be pocketing an extra $2.5 million when this game is over. Please donate some to me.
Yeah, I'd like some too. And you know what? Mike Evans would love to walk out of Ray J $3 million richer as well. He already reached 10 tutties, which is one part of the 3 that he needs for that bonus. The other 2 is he needs 70 receptions and 1,000. Ooh, we need that 1,000 receiving yards. He'll need 5 catches and 85 yards to get that done, which leads me to number 6. Everyone in the Tampa Bay area is rooting for Mike Evans to get his 85 yards in that contest. History is on the line here. If he can hit that benchmark, it will be the 11th consecutive season doing so. It would tie Jerry Rice for the longest streak ever. He would also sit in second, inching closer to Rice's all-time mark of 14 career 1,000-yard seasons. Winning the game is the most important thing. But Evans reaching 1,000 yards, it ain't too far behind.
Tying somebody that has all receiving records across the NFL throughout history. You're talking about somebody that's consistently been somebody in this community that has raised people up, continue to be the face of this franchise and be there for people, and so that record is important for us.
You want what's best for him, obviously, with the team first mentality, which that's who he is, so it doesn't matter. The guys all want it for him anyway.
So there's Mike's history, and then the potential for this offensive unit to be the most explosive in franchise history. At number 5, with 37 points, Liam Cohen's group would surpass the 2021 squad at 511 points. Also, if Tampa Bay can tally 504 yards, they'll pass the 2021 team in yards as well. You have to wonder what kind of damage could have been done to the record books if Chris Godwin played the entire year, David.
Yeah, you're right about that. At number 4, Shaq Barrett was an important piece of that 2021 squad and is hoping to make a huge impact down the stretch for the 2024 group. After retiring before training camp with the Dolphins, he pulled a Tom Brady, came back to the Bucs for another go-around, and now this guy says he doesn't just plan on this being a one-year deal. He says he's got another couple of seasons in him, Evan.
That's right.
He had interest from teams like the Lions and Eagles, who have better records, but ultimately chose this organization because Tampa Bay means so much to him. Barrett had 4.5 sacks from that outside linebacker position last season for Tampa Bay. The current leader in sacks at his spot is Anthony Nelson with 4. So let's bring in our guy, James Yarko, with the Locked On Bucs Burning Question of the Week. James, Barrett will likely make his season debut. I know the Bucs are signing Barrett off the couch. So what's the reasonable expectation for him in his return? How does he help?
Well, yeah, I know Buccaneers fans are super excited about the return of Shaq Barrett, and the Bucs pass rush has been much better over the course of the last couple of weeks, but they still haven't had that alpha edge guy. Yaya Diaby had a lot of hype through the offseason, has not quite lived up to that. But as far as Shaq's role this week against the Saints, I think it's going to be pretty minimal. I think Todd Bowles is going to be really selective about when he puts Shaq Barrett out on the field. It's obviously going to be in, for sure, passing situations. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Shaq a lot more in the second half of this game rather than the first half. Get him acclimated a little bit. So 10, 12 snaps maybe in third down situations to let him get his legs under him a little bit. And that's going to bring a lot of confidence to the defense that they have another guy out there that can get after the quarterback. They have another guy in the locker room that has been there, that has done that has won a Super Bowl, that has been, a major contributor to a defense over the course of the last couple of years. The franchise's single season sack record holder. That kind of atmosphere, that kind of leadership that they have on and off the field is going to go a long way.
Thank you so much, James. At number 3, Barrett joins one of the best defenses since the bye week. He also joins one of the best second-half teams since that period as well. In the last 6 games, Tampa Bay has given up a total of 23 points in the second half. That's a little more than a field goal. This unit has been criticized heavily all year, but they might be peaking at the right time, which leads me to the sideline segment because the defense hasn't reached its full potential thanks to some critical injuries on that side of the ball. This is how we're looking for the season finale. Only 5 names on the injury report, so that's a big improvement. Yet, guys like Jamel Dean and Antoine Winfield Jr. will not suit up. Also, the hope is Cade Otton would return in the postseason if the Bucs can get there. Tampa Bay still has 4 impactful pieces on the IR, but this ain't too shabby for Week 18, considering, the Saints, they don't have Derek Carr, they don't have Alvin Kamara, all those things.
They're hurt too. A few of these names have been featured on Sideline before, but we certainly like them over here out of that segment at number 2, besides Elijah Klein, who we still have high hopes for, by the way. This rookie class has been making an impact towards the end of the season. First, there's Ducky Irving. He'll likely finish in top 5 for Rookie of the Year voting. He earned the start last week against Carolina and became the first Bucs running back since Doug Martin in 2015 to reach 1,000 rushing yards. First-round pick Graham Barton has a say in that. Meanwhile, Jalen McMillan is finally living up to the hype in the last 4 weeks. He has 6 touchdowns. He might have won somebody a fantasy championship out there. Devin Colt had 52 yards against the Panthers. Chris Braswell logged a sack. Tyke Smith, go Dogs. Y'all disappointed me. But Tyke Smith has been nails all season. Jason Light and his staff deserve a lot of credit.
Finally, at number 1, I know you just mentioned Ducky Irving, David, but we meant Ducky Irving against the Panthers. And I'm not saying it, but people out there talk about Captain Fear maybe being on the chopping block. Might be on waivers.
Respectfully, he might be, right? The Los Angeles Angels had the rally monkey, if you can remember that. The Buccaneers have a random duck that flew into Ray J, led to a blocked punt for a touchdown, and went viral.
Good things are happening. If you missed it, it was the strangest thing. The duck landed on the field towards the end of the third quarter next to Trey Palmer. A crew member was able to escort the duck to the sidelines, not before showing off some of the sweet moves. That's where the Ducky Irving comes in. But then it was a flag runner, Anchor Brandt, who swooped in and got the duck to safety. The whereabouts of this duck are now unfortunately unknown.
I kind of wish that we kept the duck. Like, I saw a lot of those comments, and I was actually thinking that in the moment, but I was like, I don't really have anywhere to put it. Or like I can't hold it for the rest of the game, but maybe it'll come back and I'll catch it again. Who knows? But probably not.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Brant said he lives on his family's farm, and so he said catching birds is something he's done before. So, since going viral, Brant says the comments he's received online about saving the duck have been overwhelmingly positive. And let's go with a positive theme into the all-out blitz. Wrap this puppy up. We start with our parlay of the week. I finally got one last week. There's no value with Mike Evans and his yards, so let's tap into the receptions. Also, I'll keep riding McMillan and Bucky, who are hot in this offense, David.
I definitely agree with you on Evans. Kalijah Kancey should crush this New Orleans offensive line. Also, Chase McLaughlin, usually a safe bet to drain a pair through the uprights. As for what we got cooking on 10 Tampa Bay, it's a doubleheader. One eye will be on the Bucs, the other eye on Atlanta against Carolina at 1 o'clock in the dirty. Also, Denver has a win and in scenario against Kansas City. That is a 425 kick. The Chiefs will be resting a ton of starters. Checking out our Blitz picks record. Evan and I are both in the playoffs. I just got a better seed than he does. Only a matter of time before I'm officially victorious. Okay, so I'm going to start. There is something that I think people are overlooking and underestimating, and it is how much the Saints hate the Atlanta Falcons. They hate them. There is no way the Saints would help the Dirty Birds in anything, let alone make the playoffs. They're going to lose on purpose. Give me the Bucs 41-10.
If Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, and Chris Olave were all in this game together, I would be a bit worried. I think the defense can maybe do some things for the Saints, but, I don't see how the Saints are going to score more than 14 points in this contest. I want to go in a different direction than you, but again, I'm an honest fella. I got to be transparent, 31-13. And it's off to the playoffs next week. Thank you so much for joining us on this season finale episode of The Blitz. No matter what, we will do a season in review final episode when it's all over. Well, you get every game with us +1 regardless. That is David Shealy. I'm Evan Klosky. This is The Blitz. We will see you at the same time or same place next weekend. It is a hat and t-shirt kind of day. Let's see what happens at 1 o'clock from Ray J.